Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever talk of the City sort of podcast today, as we're going to be talking about Liam Manning after the terrible game up against Ipswich, after losing 3-1, losing that 16 years home streak. Absolutely disappointing, I would say. I mean, it was a very interesting game, as I can't lie, Philogene for Ipswich was unbelievable, and I mean, he definitely deserves to be playing in the Premier League, I would say. But Ipswich Town absolutely dominated us. I think for the first 30 minutes, it was very even-sided, I would say. I mean, especially after that Oscar Schwartau goal in the 34th minute, I mean, well, I went absolute limbs with that. I mean, what a goal that was. But I mean, we definitely threw it away in the second half, as you know, we really looked like we wanted to play after half time, as Philogene's goal before half time was absolutely stunning. But I think it then eventually comes to the decision: should Liam Manning be sacked after having the worst home streak, after not winning? We've lost 5 games in a row at home, which is the first time in our 123-year history. I was at the Millwall, Middlesbrough, Southampton, and the West Brom game, and I think each time I went there to Carrow Road, I think we've gotten worse and worse. I think I went to the West Brom game, and I can't lie, we improved, but I think there's still a lot of work. This horseshoe formation or whatever we're trying to do with this passing play, because we went from Jack Stacey all the way to Callum Fisher running up. There's not enough flow going, and I think with some of the players seem like they can't get with the system, as you've got players who are from Daniel Farke's era, you've got Dean Smith's era, you've got Johannes Torup's era, and like David Wagner's era. They're all sort of mixing in, and just it's not really working together really. And I think the player who's really been helping us so far this year has been Josh Sargent, with his 5 goals in 11 games, I believe. And I think it's just disappointing how, even though he's been the main man, we've only had, I think there's 6 goals that we've scored without him. And I think without those goals from Sargent, we would be in a relegation battle, because those 2 goals against Blackburn, if we would have lost that game, I would say we would be in a certain relegation scrap at this point. I mean, you've got top players such as Kavissa Gordon, who is out injured after that Coventry goal. And if you look at the signings that we've made, we've spent 50 million quid. I think we are the second highest spenders in the Championship this year. And it seems to have been that for the last 4 years. And, I mean, you've brought in some brilliant players such as Kavissa Gordon and all that, and Jeffrey Schlupp, who has definitely underperformed since he's come in. He looks very slow on the ball. He doesn't seem like he can play the full 90 minutes. And I know he's 34 years old, but he does seem like he can't. He's sort of like a rotational left back, I'd say. I mean, we don't need any more of those, such as because we have Crescenti and Mahovo, so we don't really have a left back really who can play on that left hand side. I mean, you've got Callum Fisher, but he's more of a right back in my eyes. And like Yovan Makamo, he should be playing. I'm not even joking. He needs to start. I mean, against Stoke City and Wrexham, he seems to be the only player who really looks lively and wants to actually play for the club. Mate Jurasek also looks like he really wants to play. And just put them on. I mean, we need to find a system that clicked. And I think with David Wagner, we eventually found that squad that clicked. And we played that same exact squad practically, I think, like 12 games in a row, but it worked because we practically won almost every single game, and that eventually got us into the playoffs. But I think we're in a much more worse situation with David Wagner than because we were 17th in December before we played Ipswich, and I think that game was a big turning point for us. But I don't see anything really happening with Liam Manning, to be fair, because I think someone like Russell Martin would be absolutely incredible if he did come over. Same sort of ideology as Johannes Torup, but his way of being with players is really, really interesting, and how he is able to connect them all together. And, I mean, he was able to get Southampton promoted, did really well with Swansea, and keeping them up with such a tight budget, and getting MK Dons promoted, I believe. And, I think it's a man who we would probably need if Liam Manning were to be sacked. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't come to the manager, I would say. It also comes to the sporting directors and from people such as the Norfolk Holdings Group. I mean, Ben Napper has made 2 appointments now where the fans aren't happy. And I think the thing is with Norwich fans, we allow time, we give people time, but it's starting to come to the point where we are running out of patience as Ben Napper has signed Johannes Torp, who hasn't worked, Liam Manning, who doesn't look like he is going to work. But as Bristol City fans have said, Liam Manning does take time for players to get used to, and eventually when the system clicks, it clicks, and they do well, as it was shown at the end of the last championship campaign where Bristol City finished 6th. But I don't see Norwich City doing that whatsoever. I believe a manager should be given 3 seasons, but it doesn't really seem like it at the minute that Norwich will be willing to let him stay for that long. But I think the only thing that's holding the club back is financially, as they've already had to give Johannes Torp a massive payout from his, I believe, 3-year contract with the club. And with Liam Manning being given 4 years at the club, we'll be looking at a couple million to give him for only 4 months of his service. And as it shows here, with just 50 million quid's worth of signings, all that for absolutely practically nothing. Relegation battle does look on as we're 2 points off the relegation point. And I think one of the things that really should be driving us was with that Nunes sale to Ipswich. I think we did not need to make that decision, and I do know from following Ono Hernandez and everyone else, such as the Pinkham, it was all sort of come out that Nunes always wanted to be the big dog, and he always wanted to be that main man at Carrow. But when Ipswich came calling, he thought might as well sign pen to paper with that. And we've made some really good signings such as Kovacevic as well, who has actually probably been one of our best players so far this year, as he has won September Player of the Month. But I think against Ipswich that was probably his worst performance, but I think that's down to the defence for that display there. But there we are. What do you guys think of this? Should Liam Manning be sacked? Should he stay? Should we give him a couple more games? And if so, how long would you be willing to give him? Hopefully see what you guys think. Thank you for watching. See you guys later. Come on, you yellows.